Okay, I want to talk today about this piece here. This is my piece titled "Enter the Hero," and one of the cool things or brutal things about this one is the use of the heavy line approach. Right now, you can see in the time lapse that this was like this black, a lot, so much black, where a lot of the form gets picked out um, from the from the negative space and thought was like an extreme. It's a good extreme example of the of my heavy line. Let me see. You can see how ambiguous things almost become because of it, but at the same time, structurally, how it still defines the form overall. Let's look at it upside down. Now, I'm always amazed when I look at my own stuff. Why? Because a lot of the designs are a lot of my drawings are intuitive drawings. Um, so I'm just actually drawing it, the idea of the storylines coming out and everything, all at the same time. It's only later on that I'm able to look back at it and actually like really see and understand what was being communicated in it, and being straight up. These are all, my cyborg hero here. She's all a part of the my Wild Walker world, same as the Valkyrie and everything. Um, she's the last. Her little backstory. She's the last hope for a civilization. They basically made her, and she's the last hope in that whole world that the Valkyrie and the Wild Walker and everything take place in. Um, so thus enter the hero, right? Now, once again, let's look at it upside down so we can see structure, some structure. Okay, and you see the weighting and everything like that. Okay. Now her form, for those who are interested, oh, you keep popping over that way. Oh, because she's reversed. Her form. Now she's facing this way, but generally a lot of stuff I draw in this direction, like in this direction, some left to right. Okay, and let's see. Let's put in a layer here. Actually, I have the color already in here for this one. Yeah. So you can see so you can see already structurally, right? You see the heaving chest, you see the pelvis area, right? Let me go ahead and create another one so we can just do that live. Okay. So the same thing, right? And I'm always thinking three-dimensionally, right? So I won't maybe even though if I'm drawing, when I'm drawing real fast, I'm going like this. I may go like that, but I'm always thinking that this is a rounded form. I'm always thinking like that. Okay, and whenever I do my female forms, I generally keep the torso very all the same width. I don't vary it much. Um, Try to keep it more to like a dancer form. That's the best way I can put it. If you look at the photography I do from Boss, all of the models are all dancers, right? And so they all have this very consistent form, very well proportioned form about themselves. Particularly in the thigh area and stuff, right? Very developed thighs. So that would be like some people wouldn't. It is equivalent of for those who do like barbarians or apish people or muscle men or something like that, right? Right. So that's basically what I'm saying is like the ideal form. Okay. So now when we have so when just this alone, to me, just this alone. Let me talk a little faster. Just this alone is the female form. Okay. No mistaking it. No mistaking it. Okay. No mistaking it. And this is what I'm thinking constantly when I'm not thinking constantly, but whenever I'm the feminine form comes out, this is the structure that my mind is thinking. This is the structure. So there's no confusion. There's no, because men can't technically are not designed like this whatsoever. Um, and then as I said before, when you heave the chest up, so this is the chest area, and this, let's say this is the center, right? Somewhere in there. When you heave the chest up, in other words, point it further and further towards the sky, then it creates more of a, I call it like that heaving chest creates more of a heroic type of structure, right? Type of positioning or posturing, right? And so breasts then become, regardless of what size breast you utilize, it all depends on what aesthetic you're going for or style, whatever feeling you're going for. But it automatically will come across heroic. If this is a small chested character, it will still come across heroic because of the overall posture of the form. The gesture. Let's do a gesture line. Right. So the gesture of the form is this, right? That's the actual gesture line. Anything else, so putting her head offline and stuff like that was that's part of the pose type thing. But the gesture, this is the rhythm of the form. This is the rhythm of the form. Everything else is stretched and cocked, right? Okay. Okay. So let's take a look at some occlusion on her. Okay, so let me see. So this is like her occlusion layer. Remember I said I approach everything from like occlusion. When it comes to shading, I approach everything from occlusion and self-shading. So the occlusion is when the ambient light can't bounce any further because the form is too close to each other. And the self-shading is the area of the form that begins to fall away from the main light source, right? Since the heavy line deals with all cast shadow and anything else that falls into that range of tone or value in this extreme sense, right? So here you have me picking it out. When I'm doing this for her, that this is self-shading, but with her, I'm also thinking because of she's made out of a form of metal, like a titanium-ish type of metal, I'm thinking about the self-shading of it, in other words, how it's falling away from the form, but I'm also thinking that's going to be the horizon line, because when I do reflections, when I do chrome or metal, any type of metal, I'm always reflecting the outer world, right? So I want to throw in a harder occlusion line, not a soft little airbrush line, but harder line, because this needs to support the horizon that I eventually develop for that area of the thigh when it comes to the metal. Okay, same thing goes for here. Same thing. These are all to develop the horizon. Now this is how you want. This is how I like to do self shading for breasts because I deal with them as like almost like a cone structure. But then the gradation, all of this is basically horizon related information. Okay, let's see in reverse so you can see. Well, this is actually forward, right? Okay. All right. So let's turn on some color. Let's turn on some color. Let's turn on some color. Okay. So now you can see how in that same area how that heavy occlusion line works now with the horizon line aspect of the reflection. Okay, it's easier to see it here. Okay, all right, where you have this horizon here, and then you have this gradating sky. The specularity falls wherever it's supposed to fall in with the metal, but it's always going to be in relationship to the sun or the main light source in the shot, right? In this particular case, let's say it's a sun, right? Just keeping it simple, right? And it also should read well upside down. Matter of fact, when I do a lot of my specularity, I do it upside down, because then when I do it, when I do it the way if I do it right side up the way I drew it, it comes across too what's it called? Too placed. If I take the form, turn it upside down, and then say, okay, I am now the light. I am now falling, and I do it just like this. I go boom, 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 like that. I'm now the light falling on this three-dimensional form. Then it feels to me more natural in its appearance, right? Um, and you can see how the gradation works and stuff. Let's see, yeah, in here. I'll look at it in reverse. Okay, all right. So this is once again, this is I guess one call it an extreme example of the heavy line and what it can do in helping to suggest and define and suggest the form. Let me just get rid of these two guys. Okay. And a lot of the original line work was left behind. A lot was left behind. So once again, okay, cool. This is Enter the Hero.